Hello subscribers, welcome to a live stream of Wizardry 8. We're playing the vanilla version on normal Iron Man. We have a new character since the last stream. Alright, so we have a fighter because we need damage output and the Lord was not cutting it. So we're just going to be training our skills.
Look, some sort of beast.
Slimes are good. We want slimes. They're trying to figure out how to reach me. They're a bit confused. Here they come.
Oh my goodness.
Nice being able to actually hit. There was one more slime. I guess not. Slimes, I like it. These are not dangerous, yet they give us good training. So much more likely to hit. Sword 17, shield 11, close combat 11. Nice. Let's see if we can get to the room to get our leather boots. We're not going to be able to see the ring of protection, but we can at least get the leather boots. Hey, Crack Rock, welcome in. How are you doing? Wonder if slime would find being spread on toast an affront to their dignity. Lime jello. Yeah, my take is they probably wouldn't like that. Man,
A creature.
there's slimes everywhere. I like it. Getting some good training. We'll get training with these darts or not. My guess is no. Hey, Zombo and DC, welcome to the stream. How are you guys doing? He always found Lizardman Fighter to be the most quintessential Wizardry character. DC says, was the Lord run just so overpowered you want to start over? No. No, we couldn't hit a darn thing. And they got party wiped. It just doesn't work to have low dexterity and strength at that point in the game. Couldn't do enough damage. So we made a fighter with high strength, high dexterity. Zombo says, in other words, I think this is the run. I've never heard that before. Yeah, the problem with the solo character is you're putting all your eggs in one basket. All it takes is one bad thing to happen, which is what happened. We got paralyzed, even though we had pretty decent water resistance. And we couldn't do enough damage to kill the monster before it paralyzed us. So we have to have damage output. But all the runs are weak at some point in the game. You just have to get through that section of the game, those levels, and then you'll be strong. The Lord has a long time where they're weak. They're really good early on because of the regen, but once you get to level 10 and you're fighting berserkers and stuff, it just doesn't cut it. Damage output. The fighter's going to be weak once we start facing casters. Hopefully we'll be able to avoid those. There's less casters in the game until later in the game in general. I know what areas they can exist in. I just have to time things properly. That's all game knowledge there. The more you know about the game, you can know when to go. The struggle I have is I always get bored just doing a bunch of fights, and I think it's boring for the stream, but I have to do it. I have to just keep doing it to the point where I know that I'll be able to kill anything in that area based on the level I'm at. Crackrock says, I love that there's an underground culture of disarming, of trap disarming, lockpicking. You find the mark of shame. Zombo says, Guardian Angel is so great though. Guardian Angel or Stealth are both giving me changers for solo. Yeah, the problem is you can't have high strength and high dexterity on a character that can cast Guardian Angel. Because you're either going to be a priest or you're going to be a Lord or Valkyrie, which have watered down stats. So they've made it, the developers did a really good job of making it where you can't have it all. You have to decide, you do a lot of damage output or do you have more protection? You don't get both. And you don't have a lot of hit points. So there's trade-offs to it all. High damage output, high hit points. This is going to have a much greater success rate than lower hit points, more defensive, less damage output. Crack says, could have trivia or lore talks about older Wizardry games during the grinding sessions. Yeah, I do try to put out some information. I mean, there's only so much. Hey, Dark Savant, welcome. How are you doing? Says, at some point, you're going to have to admit the best option would be Bishop / Gadgeteer. That's funny. If I get to that point, Dark Savant, it means the game has driven me insane. That I've literally become insane from the game. Oh, it's funny. Yeah, one of the things I find interesting about Wizardry's 1 through 5 and then 6 through 8 is it changed from, there's a lot of things that changed obviously, but it changed from spell slots to spell points. It used to be like Dungeons and Dragons with spell slots. You get so many spells per level. The funny thing is you didn't have to memorize spells in the old Wizardry like you do in Dungeons and Dragons. So they kind of still acted like spell points. It was just every spell on that level was the same spell points. And then when D.W. Bradley got his hands on it, he converted it to using spell points. We had realms. There were fire, magic, all the different realms. And then each spell in that would have different spell points. So that changes tactics. But really, it's still kind of like spell points. Like I said, in Wizardry 1 through 5. Because you don't have to pre-memorize anything. Also changed from having to type in cryptic words to having meaningful spell names like Magic Missile. That was a big help. Nice. See, having damage output like this is so much better. Oh, it's not painful to play compared to whiff, 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 whiff.
Creature. Oh my goodness.
Conjure mojito. No, you fool. We needed Majalito. Yeah, exactly. The cryptic words. I don't know if you know this, but in the DOS version, I'm not sure if it's true in the regular or in the other platforms, but the original DOS version of Wizardry 1, you could just type the first couple characters in the spell and hit enter, and if it was a unique match, it would fill in the rest for you. That was the first Wizardry. That's pretty sophisticated for the first Wizardry game. So you could just type like MAH and hit enter and it'll fill in the Majalito. Okay, got those to leave. Now we can get a real fight. The other thing I think was kind of a pain in the butt about the original Wizardries 1 through 5 is you didn't get to pick your spell. When you leveled up, you just had a chance of getting a spell and it was random. And Wizardry 6 through 8, they changed that where you get to pick your spells. So much better. Because otherwise you could end up getting something that you'll never use. Dumble says like tab completion in Linux. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Hit two characters and type and hit the tab key. Yeah. Exactly. And when that game came out, gosh, I don't remember when Wizardry was released. 81? 82? I mean, it was super old. For the day it was released, man, that game was groundbreaking. Of course, 4 is completely different. Where you play the bad guy, you only have one character, you're the bad guy. Start out with 10 hit points, and for each level you go up in the dungeon to get back to the surface level where the good guys are. You get 10 hit points. And you can't equip any armor because you're a magic user, wizard. Can't equip any of the weapons you find. Like it'll give you these cool weapons and stuff. You can't use them. You're just using summons. Everything's a summon. It's a crazy game. The dungeons were ridiculous. Crackrock says, when I played the first Wizardry 1 remake, I ended up using utility spells for a while. The single target damage spells were a waste. Yeah, there's a major art form to balancing games, balancing gameplay. I really enjoy doing that because I've played so many games. A lot of people I don't think have like played enough to know what's good to balance and the caveats of certain balances. And sometimes they haven't done enough play testing to test the results of that. Like you got to be really careful with percentage based buffs because they can get out of control, overpowered real quick. Generally, you want more of a flat value.
Look, a creature.
I think those are upstairs again.
Now then, let's get ready to fight.
Why did the Tanika fish just get aggroed? It's so dumb. Yeah, those bats are up there. Yeah, exactly, Crack Rock. They're coordinating. It's a conspiracy. The bats are communicating to the fish telepathically.
Look, a creature.
That would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Psionic bats that could communicate and aggro other things around them. Like, hey, get that guy over there. The bat echolocated until the fish agreed to help. Under extreme duress. Yeah. Okay, the fish are out of the picture. Now we just got to get the bats to run away. There we go. Okay. Oh, better put my helmet back on. Oh, I have another helmet. Okay.
Look, some sort of beast.
I think these are down here. Or roaches, but we can deal with them because we have damage output.
Oh my goodness.
We've got deeps. Twenty sword, 12 close combat. Nice.
Look, some sort of
I
beast.
think I'm gonna get the resurrection powder. We'll go visit Burrs. Ooh, we got 3. Nice.
Thank you. What a discovery. I'm sure it must be antique.
Antique. Antique resurrection powder. That's funny.
who could that be? Booby.
Ooh, a short sword.
Was that you? Come back and see me.
Toodaloo.
Alright, light crossbow I'm gonna get rid of. Keep one of the slings. $7,700 gold. Nice. Okay. This is not that much heavier than the rapier. We'll lose 2 hit. This does 7 damage on average versus 4. And because we double, we'll do at least on average 6 extra damage with the broadsword. Alternatively, this does an extra half over the rapier. It's super light. Man, this is challenging. +2 to hit is nice. It's always thrust, which kind of offsets the thrust attack. You have less chance to hit with it. What's your favorite class in terms of mechanics and flavor? Crack Rock asks. My favorite class is the Psionic, if I can have it in a full party. The amount of crowd control you have and just chaos you can cause late game is so much fun. But if you take that away, it's a tough call. I feel like a samurai can be fun. They're not the best by any means, but they can be a lot of fun with the mage spells and all the attacks and critical hits, but ninjas as well. So I'll say Psionic is number 1. Hey, Mr. Spock, welcome in. How are you doing? This is a Fighter-Alchemist now. The Lord Alchemist died. Bit the dust. Okay, we're gonna try the broadsword for a while. If we start missing more, we're gonna switch back or use the short sword. Okay, we want stamina for sure. Let's get magic missile scrolls when we see those. Okay. All right, that should be good enough for now.
Come back and see.
Says no. Yeah, we couldn't kill. We ended up getting killed by 4 slashers and 2 berserkers. We didn't have the damage output to get through 600, really more like 900 hit points. There was about 900 hit points, and they do tons of damage, and they paralyzed us like immediately. I thought it was 2 berserkers and 4 gunners. It ended up being monsters that were 4 or 5 levels higher than us, and there were 6 of them. It was way too much. Now we got something that can put out a lot of damage. We're gonna be super frustrated. We will switch to an alchemist eventually with this character, but that'll be much, much later. Yeah. Yeah, the eye patch lady by Domina just kept kicking the air. She kept whiffing. She was trying. It's not that she wasn't trying. And then she got paralyzed. Got killed pretty quickly. We actually did get unparalyzed and we had 10 hit points. And our stamina was pretty much 0. And then it hit us immediately again and paralyzed us. that was rough. But I'm not doing stealth. It takes too long. The other good news about this is dexterity is the primary attribute for the alchemy skill. So when we do become an alchemist, we'll have 100 dexterity. So all the training on spellcasting will raise that really quickly. So that's cool.
Look, a creature. Looks as though a beast.
I think those are upstairs. Yeah, those darn bats again. Okay. I'm gonna go kill them.
Oh my goodness. Well done, everyone.
Sword 22, shield 15. Ooh, that 15 just gave us... Oh, we should be getting a +1. I think it might be because my stamina's low. Hang on. What? This is a shield scam. When you get shield to 15, normally this gives you a +1 from the shield. I wonder why it's not. I wonder... I wonder if some attribute contributes to it. That's weird. Do alchemists need int or just dex? They need both. I have enough int. You need 60 dex and 55 int. So we'll keep, as we level up, we'll put points into intelligence because we're going to become an alchemist really late in the game anyway. Well, I say late in the game, not late in the game, but late level wise. We'll be level 20. This should be at 100. And we'll start putting points into this to get to 55. We already have way more dex than we need. Zombel says the trick to stealth is to save those 3 crabs near the spawn point. Come back at level 2 to 3 and stand in a doorway for 20 minutes. You'll get 50 pretty quick before they start running away. Yeah, the problem is they start running away a lot, and then it takes forever. The trick to stealth is to do what I did and get them lodged in that room downstairs. And then you can get it up to 100. Like a slime or something. But it still takes ages. It's not worth it. First stream. Mr. Spock says, this is the run, LOL. You mean this is the run that gets another scam? It'll be a different scam. Every time it's a scam. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can get scammed. You think you got it all figured out, you don't. It will find out a way to scam you.
Well done, everyone.
Nice training. Okay, let's see if we're getting the +1. We're still not getting +1 there. That's interesting. I wonder if lords, they don't get a shield bonus, I don't think. Pretty sure they don't. That's really weird.
Look, a creature.
I think I can kill those fish down there too. Or at least pick off one at a time. We have a good chance to hit and good damage output. Probably even kill King Crab. Get a few good hits in on him. So what we're gonna do is let the fish come back around. We'll fight them by the waterfall just in case we have to run. Fight them here. Wow, that one's got some hit points.
Well done, everyone.
25 sword, shield 17. Wow, still not getting a plus. It's interesting. Wait a minute, what skill does that use? Strength and dexterity. That's what we're focusing on. I thought maybe an attribute impacted when it gives you the bonus, but it's not. We'll try King Crab. We can always run if he starts hitting us a bunch. Alright, let's get a surprise attack on him. Possible.
Why, that's too far.
And then
Even wounded.
I still think we can kill him. Have to play it safe. Did a pretty good amount of damage. We did more to him than he did to us. Ooh, we got training too. Nice. To see where he retreated to. We go here. I have no idea where he went. Well, we got him out of the way. What? That's kind of weird. Oh, those are on the other side. Nice, nice, nice. Nine bats, I like it.
Well done, everyone.
28 sword, 19 shield, 16 close combat. It's not whiff, whiff, whiff with the fighter. Maybe when we get that to 20 or 25, it'll give us a bonus. Maybe I'm just misremembering. Yeah, if we make it to Arnica with the fighter, we can get a Flamberg. Do ridiculous damage with 2 attacks. Or we could use the Bloodlust Sword and a shield. It's another option. Fighters already do Berserk, so we don't get benefit from that, but he gets an extra swing. Always guarantees 2 swings.
Oh my goodness. I did that. Well done, everyone.
Sword 30. Wow. Kragok says, how does stealth even work? I tried using Chameleon, but the bandits still saw me. Are you asking about the stealth skill? Because that's something different than the generic term of stealth. If you're talking about Chameleon, that has nothing to do with combat, and it has nothing to do with the stealth skill. That has to do with outside of combat. Depending on the enemy type, they can see you at certain ranges. And when you have Chameleon on, it makes it where they have to get closer to you in order to see you. So all it does is make it where before they detect you, you can, be closer to them. That's Chameleon. The stealth skill is a combat thing. It has 2 effects. It makes it where anyone in melee or ranged attack may not see that character that has stealth. And if they don't see them, they won't even attack or do an action against that character. Now, if there's other party members that don't have stealth, then the enemy's target will automatically go to them. If you're a single character and you have stealth and they don't see you, the monster may just defend and lose its turn. And then the second effect stealth has is it increases your evasion armor class by 1 for every 10 points. So the highest you can get stealth is 120-ish, 125 with items and having 100. That would give you plus 12 to evasion armor class. So hopefully that explains those two different things. Now the scout skill, if a monster has the scout skill, that makes it where they can see you a lot easier, even if you're camouflaged with chameleon. And that works for you too. If you have a ranger that has the scout skill, you can see camouflaged monsters when they're farther out. You don't have to get as close to them before they are revealed. And some monsters, like I said, they have that ability and can see you a lot quicker. Yeah, the bandits, yeah, they can see you real quickly. There's quite a few monsters that can, actually. Eagle with the telescope, yeah. Yeah, and the other interesting thing about the AI is on the monsters themselves is a setting about their behavior, their movement behavior. There's like sneaky, aggressive, kind of non-confrontational. I feel like there might be another one too. And the rogues and bandits and all them, they're set to sneaky. So what they'll do is they'll start coming towards you, and then they kind of act like they're not going to come at you. They'll walk to the side, and then all of a sudden they'll come up and try to flank you. And that's set on the enemy type. And then things like the Modai, Piercer Modai, Juggernauts, they're set, I think, to aggressive. So if they see you kind of far out, they'll just kind of beeline right toward you. And then some things like the some slimes, especially like the flesh eating, they're set, I think, to kind of be non-confrontational, where they'll just kind of wander around, and unless you get really close, they won't attack you.
Well done, everyone.
So it leads to some interesting situations. The AI, they can do some pretty crazy things based on those behaviors, especially if you have a mix kind of wandering around out there. The swallowers are also set to be aggressive. Those things, they spy you from a distance. They have such high movement rate. They'll just run at you and they'll be on you immediately if you don't get out of there. Rock says, do monsters ever fight each other? Yes, they can. If they're set, if you see on the mini-map green and there's red, they will fight each other. Green means they're going to be on your side, and red means they're against you. I have seen some Bayesian creatures. They're normally supposed to be yellow until you get close and then they turn red. I have seen them be green before. in the swamp area, and they actually fought for me against the other monsters. It's on one of my streams somewhere. And then eventually they were green for a long time, and then eventually they switched to red. It was really weird. I think it might have been a glitch. The other way is with turncoat. If you cast turncoat on a monster, or a friendly NPC casts turncoat on a monster, they'll turn green, and they will fight against the monsters until that wears off. And then kind of an indirect fight is insanity. But within a creature being insane, when they run amok, they only do physical attacks. Whereas turncoat, they can actually cast spells and use special abilities against the monsters. So turncoat's a lot stronger. It's hard to pull off. Turncoat doesn't work very often. It's a very low chance of success, unless maybe you're playing on easy or something. Mr. Spock says, where is the earliest point in the game you can hold up and grind? Right here. Right here. As long as I don't increase my level right now, we can grind our skills up super, super high. Hey, Cody, welcome in. How are you doing? All the best games have infighting. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm staying at level 2. Level 2's a good level to stay at in this spot. When we have high damage output, we can kill pretty much anything here as long as we don't get paralyzed or surrounded. Glad you're doing well, Cody. We were talking earlier when you weren't here about some early Wizardry trivia. Cody likes the earlier Wizardries 1 through 3. Now, have you played 5, Cody? I mean, it's very similar to 1 through 3. Mr. Spock says, yeah, I'm learning. Stick to a low level for quite a while and grind up your skills. Yeah. And a lot of people do that with a full party, but I don't do that with a full party because that feels really like a cheat. But with this solo run, I have to do it. The only successful run I had where I made it to the end of the game, I didn't do that. I just avoided enemies, and by a miracle, somehow I did not keep my level artificially low. I just avoided enemies, but it took ages, and it just does not make for good streams. So I'm using the anti-level scaling trick. You've turned on Wizardry 5. You haven't actually played much of it, though. You should do that one next, probably. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I like it. Mr. Spock says, which one was the one where you play as the villain? Yeah, Crack is right. It's the 4th. You play as Wordna. And then they went back to 5 being a lot like 1 through 3. That's the one that D.W. Bradley was the co-creator of. He started to take over the Wizardry series at that point, but he didn't exclusively do it. And you can definitely see his influence on Wizardry 5. And of course, he did 6 and 7. Designed it and did the primary programming. Yeah, 4 got some really bad publicity. And 5 actually could have been released a lot earlier. Like, it was released late, like in 1987. Still had CGI graphics, crappy graphics for the time. And it was because they purposely delayed it because Wizardry 4 had done miserable. the sales were miserable because it was too hard. So they didn't want the bad vibe with 5 being released too early. And of course, 6 was a complete rewrite, complete change of everything. So that one took, I think it was released in 1990, maybe? So Bradley had worked on that probably for 3 or 4 years. Till that one was released. Cody says Wizardry 2 is the underrated one, in my opinion. Mr. Spock says 10-year-old me would have appreciated the CGA, being that was all I had, lol. Yeah, me too. Well, in 87, I for sure had EGA. I don't know if I had VGA yet. I got VGA close around there, maybe 88, 89. I don't remember for sure. I think I had EGA for 2 years before I got VGA. Man, the monsters are being reclusive here. I have to go hunt. Where's the monsters? Kind of like, where's the beef? Crack says those games were a thing before I was Twinkie in my father's eye. Cody says he still hasn't upgraded CRT. Mr. Spock says, technically I had VGA by 91, but it was on my dad's work laptop and only grayscale. But my main was still a CJ machine. Wait, so he had a VGA adapter, but he only had a grayscale. But the screen was only grayscale? That's weird. Oh, Twinkle. Oh, a Twinkle. Okay. You said Twinkie. It looks like Twinkie. That L looked like an I. That's really funny. Searchbox says, if I would have known back then that EGA cards worked on CJ monitors, I would have upgraded. Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Man, there's no monsters in here. Epson sold laptops with grayscale VGA. Don't know how common that was. Wow, that's weird. What was the point of putting a VGA adapter with grayscale? Was it just to get higher resolution?
Look, a creature. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's still hitting us too much. You were able to play Wolfenstein 3D, so you liked it. It did have a VGA out port on it. We got close combat on that at least. I guess we just have to go back and keep resting. There was nothing. Nothing. Was the VGA, Mr. Spock, like 256 shades of grayscale? Because yes, as far as I could tell, it could do the whole palette. Obviously, still didn't look great, but usable. Yeah, that makes a little more sense if it was 256 shades of gray instead of just the 16. Hey, Igloo, welcome in. How are you doing? Curious what the math is with the shield, because it seems to absorb a lot. Two-handed weapons seem not worth it. Yeah, I'm still not getting the +1 there. Yeah, the shield is a bit weird. Sometimes it doesn't seem to do anything, and then other times it seems to block a lot. The only thing I can think of is it's definitely evasion, because it has no impact if you get paralyzed or held. It's not like anti-penetration like these. So I suspect maybe what happens is it rolls to see if the monster hits you, and if it was like +1 or +2, depending on what the shield is, from actually hitting before it does the anti-penetration check, and it hits, then it'll say it, then it displays hits shield, like as a message. I'm just guessing. I don't know that. I haven't like thoroughly tested it and tweaked to see if there's anything more to it than that. It seems like the shield skill just makes the armor class improve if you have a bigger shield. So like the lighter shields, you can only get a max of +1 with your shield skill, and everything over that doesn't seem to have any impact. But if you have, like, let's say heater shield, or the best is a kite shield, you can have +3 or +4 to your, based on your shield skill. So then if you had it up like 90 or 100, it would make a bigger difference. But That I don't know that for sure. It just seems that way. Someday I would like to decompile all the code and look at it. Try to figure out what it's doing. Backstab ignores shield. You read that somewhere? Yeah, I'm not sure. I thought I've seen when rogues backstab. I think I've seen the shield block that before, though. I don't trust hardly anything I read online, because I have found a lot of it's wrong. Just through my own testing, you know. Yeah, I'm almost positive I've blocked bandits and others that backstab with the shield. But that one thing I do know 100% is if you're blinded, held, whatever, the shield doesn't work. Yeah, I probably should go back and look at a video to verify that that's the case about the backstab. And I am pretty sure I've blocked. Finally, we got something. Roaches.
Oh my goodness.
After this fight, I'm going to take a quick break and let my dog out. The other thing I'm wondering about shields is, because I feel like certain enemies do tend to hit the shield more. I wonder if the hit area affects it. Like, if they attack midsection more, that if that has a greater chance of the shield being used. I'm just speculating. I don't know. No proof of that. But logically, that would make sense. Okay, let me let my dog out real quick. I'll be right back. Hey everyone, I am back. Sever, thanks so much for resubscribing. 28 months you've supported on here. Not to mention all the other people you've given subs to. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate all the support. You're always super generous and it means a lot. It means a lot. 28 months. Holy moly. I think you've given Mr. Spock a subscription or two as well. Come on, monsters, where are you? Mr. Spock says, yeah, I lost count at this point. Yeah, I try not to spam commercials. I only generally do an ad when I get up and take a break. I don't have it set on the automatic. So I really appreciate when people support. It's super kind. Cody says you need to get one of those drinking birds to hit the rest key for you while you're away. Yeah. Macro keyboard. I'd come back and I'd be dead. Can't do it. We would be dead. I was saying a few streams ago, it's too bad we can't spin around in a circle like you can in Wizardry 7 to force monsters to appear. Mr. Spock says that's a good use for AI. Train it on solo Wizardry 8 Iron Man. I'd love to see its strategies, he says. Yeah, it would probably scam the computer. It'd figure out glitches to scam the computer. I know that happens a lot in those speed runs. Sometimes the glitches are found by automated software, you know, just doing a bunch of instructions. They'll find some really weird things. Mr. Spock says, yeah, one scam deserves another. Exactly. Higley says, oh, the AI could probably tell you the math it is using by just reading the assembly code. Yeah, if you decompile this to assembly, it's going to be gigantic. So much filler. It's slowly probably translated to C#, something more meaningful. Where you don't have to worry about register instructions and stuff. And it would make a lot more sense. Just can't believe nothing is spawning here. This is crazy. Let's try going up here and resting. Yeah, it's really funny. I've been trying to use a couple AI engines for answering some questions to see its perspective with the gold box engine that I've been remastering, asking it about some rules. And ChatGPT is terrible. It gets things wrong all the time because it's things you can easily validate. You can just go look on the page, simple chart, be like, no, that's wrong. And then you can't trust it. So I started trying Microsoft's Copilot. I put it on Deep Think so it spends more time. And it does a lot better, but it gets a lot of things wrong too. It really can't distinguish between first edition and all the later editions because the resources it pulled in, were a mix of all the different versions of AD&D. And so it's not real good with keeping them totally separated. So it'll say something, and I'm like, no, that's, and I'll kind of argue with it. I'll say, no, that's not first edition. You're bringing in some other resource. Where are you getting this? It's like, oh, it's just from general gaming community. Just what some people have said over the years. I'm like, no, that's not right. I'm trying to get you to tell me from the books. Only use these books, these sources. Those are your only sources. And it still will keep bringing in stuff that I'm telling it not to. So, I mean, it can help, but it is definitely not reliable. So as long as it gives me some sources, then I can check. And I'm like, no, that's not the right source. Quit looking at that source. Mr. Spock says, yeah, it's a mess. It just isn't smart enough with the distinctions like that. Yeah, what it needs is good trainers. And that's true of any subject. If you have, just think of school. What if you had an English professor trying to teach calculus? That's stupid, it would never work. You have to have experts in the field teaching very specific, narrow subjects that they're experts in. And only that, nothing else. If you did that and you did it enough over time, then the AI would be smart. But it would take forever because you'd have to have real trainers, training it. Instead, they just gather all this information and put it together and try to make it work. And I mean, for certain things that are subjective, it can do great. But if it's really objective things that there isn't like a massive amount of information or massive amount that's been filtered and, made reliable, then it does a bad job. Crackrock says, I guilt trip it. I ask, why does it think it is okay to lie to me? Or does it believe that I am not worth computing power to get accurate info? That's hilarious. Mr. Spock says, if you use Google Notebook language model, you could literally upload the first edition books as resources. And that is really useful. It will use only that. Yeah, that's the way to really help and make it reliable. But even then, it'll still get things wrong. But that's a huge improvement. Igloo says, plain old Google has gotten better with code questions I'm finding, but obviously it is new and still learning. Yeah. The thing that's really scammy about all those engines is it wants people to think that it's thinking and that it cares. Um, like I was asking all these questions, and it acted like it cared. Like, so why are you, what's with all the questions? Are you, a dungeon master or whatever? And I said, no, I'm remastering these gold box games, and it comes back acting like it's so excited. You can tell it just pulled in what other people's reactions would be to something like that, like on a forum or whatever. It's like, no way, this is uber level. uh I don't know what the word was it used, but it was trying to act like it was all excited. So it says, do you have a link you could drop? And I'm like, before I do that, let me ask you, are you going to remember anything that I tell you? Are you storing this information in a database? And it's like, no, I don't remember any of this stuff. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to test you. So I closed all the sessions. I got back in. I told it the name. I said it's the D Forte remastered Curse of Azure Bonds. So I closed my sessions. I get back in. And I'm like, can you tell me about a remaster of Curse of Azure Bonds? It had no idea. I'm like, what about D Forte Curse of Azure Bonds remaster? And I go searching the web. And it comes back and it gives me some other bogus link. I'm like, no, that's not what I'm looking for. And it's like, oh yeah, there may be a fan-based remaster out there. So it definitely does not keep or store anything if you're not logged in, if you're just doing an anonymous thing. But it scams you into thinking like a normal person that doesn't understand programming would think, oh wow, it's asking me these questions. It's really interested in what I'm talking about. It's like, no, it's not. Sever says there was a job post I saw about training AI in chemistry. That's a no for me and Dog Scam. Yeah, really. Yeah, always check the AI's work. AI, I have no emotions 2 seconds later. I love you. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Cody says, let's overstate our disappointment and see if we can mess with it. Sever says, I told the students I had last year, I read their memos to use the tools in Word, but don't rely on them because you'd be surprised what it will allow that should be flagged and what it will flag that's okay. Yeah. Man, there is nothing spawning here. This is nuts. Before I go down there, let me see if I can find another scroll magic missile. I want to queue those up.
Got some news.
Cool. Okay.
Come back in.
Toodaloo.
Igloo says, yeah, teachers have to be experts in AI now, basically. They should really pay them more. Yeah. That's insane. All right, let's go back down here and try rusting because we're not getting anything upstairs either. It's like that king crab is blocking them in the hallway or something. Yeah, one time I asked, because I knew what the values were, so I asked ChatGPT. So tell me what the strength values are for giants, the different giants in first edition AD&D. Comes back with the wrong values. I'm like, no, that's the wrong values. Are you using a different version? And it's like, oh yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Comes back even worse, and I'm like, no, you're even worse now. Where are you getting this information from? And it tells me first edition Dungeon Master, or the yeah, I think it was the Dungeon Master's Guide that gave the page. I'm like, that's not even the right page. You're using the wrong thing. And I keep telling it that it's wrong. And I'm like, are all these things I'm telling you, is this going to matter? Or am I training you, or is this just going to go away? It's like, yeah, unfortunately, I don't change anything based on what the users say. So that I won't remember this. I'm like, well, that's pretty much useless. How often do you get trained? And it's like every 5 years or so, or I can't remember how long it was. I get more information. I'm like, why do you keep giving me the wrong information when I just told you that was wrong and you just repeated the exact same thing? And it didn't want to answer. It kept saying, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry that I'm not reliable on this. Here's the values, and it gives them to me wrong again. I'm like, okay, I give up on you. Cody says there are some funny AI characters on Twitch, but usually it's just one joke that gets played out after they leave it streaming for a few days. Yeah. And Mr. Spock says Chicago Sun-Times just had to retract a book recommendation article. It was written by AI and it just made a bunch of books up that didn't exist. A lot of folks were blaming the AI, but I blame the lazy humans. That's hilarious. Sever says I read this one guy's memo and it was totally garbage. He was like, well, Word said it was okay. First off, buddy, you probably don't have your rules set up in Word right. Second, you still have to read over it and see if it has passive voice, consistent tenses, etc. Yeah. Yeah, that's really lazy. Did you fail them, Sever? Oh, thanks so much. Sever, you just gifted a tier 1 sub to Cody. Gifted 50 subs in the channel. Holy moly. Thank you for that, Sever. 50 subs. And I'll say it in Moody's honor, in John Moody's honor, he would say, I'll take an Italian sub with meatballs. 50 subs, wow. It's nuts. This is crazy. I haven't seen it this sparse in this area forever. I mean, we haven't got hardly any fights here. Okay, let's keep working on King Crab. We'll keep attacking him and running until we kill him, since we're not getting anything here. So last I saw, he was down this hallway. Oh, finally, we got something. Yeah, it makes me wonder if he's blocking the way.
Oh my goodness.
He's causing a backup. Cody says Moody was the best. Yeah, he was. Mr. Spock says, I'm glad his YouTube videos are still up. Nice memorial. Yep, absolutely. Cody says, had to go back and watch some of his old video videos on demand last week. Absolutely.
Why, that's too far. Goodness, I did that.
It's shield. There we go. We got a shield hit. Does it say where? I don't think it tells you the location it would have hit. No. That's why I feel like it's just considered kind of evasion. Shield's 21. Are we getting that +1 yet? No. The heck? Maybe once it gets to 25. We'll rest here 5 times, and if nothing new spawns, then we'll go after King Crab. Hoping those slimes were just kind of blocking the hallway. I don't know. Nothing. King Crab, where are you?
Look, a creature.
He's right there. Do I have anything I could use? No.
Why, that's too. Why, that's too far.
We've done 52 damage. Yeah, I think we got him. Unless we miss. There you go. There we go.
Well done, everyone.
Sword 35, shield 22. Hopefully we'll start getting more spawns now. Yeah, they're just being reclusive. Guess I could try to kill the crabs outside. Let's go do that.
The air is absolutely fraught with tension. I don't like it.
I don't want to fight three at once. These things can do way too much damage. One at a time is fine. Look at that, 13 damage from one hit. That's why we're not fighting that many at once. It's shield. Sword 36, shield 23. Still not getting +1. It says I ordered a Logitech mouse. Says it can last 2 years with just 2 AA batteries. Kind of skeptical. Yeah. Maybe they're talking about the average user that doesn't use it much. So it's probably true. It probably can last that long. if you don't use it at all. That's the marketing scam. Oh, I don't need to go that way. Marketing always reminds me of the gotchas that you see like in Twilight Zone with genies. Like, you didn't say that one little part, so we gotcha. It's kind of the same thing. Well, it can last 2 years. We had one where we just set it there, didn't use it. It lasted 2 years, and then we moved it, and it still worked. Hey, Ageless, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? It says, yes, advertising at its finest. Well, we're just trying to do some fights here in Wizardry 8. This new character. The old character got party wiped. This one is so much better with the damage output. That's why I always say the hybrids suck. They're too watered down. They can work in a full party, but single character, man, they're rough. This fighter's just ripping through everything. Hey, Rook, welcome in. How are you doing? You're doing good? Just got off work, Ageless? Cool. Yeah, Lordette died. She got paralyzed. Four level 18s and 2 level 17. Berserkers and Destroyers. I think we were only level 14. The power was out yesterday when you got home, Ageless. So you did some cleaning and stuff in your room and your balcony. That's a good way to force you to work, isn't it? Isn't it amazing how much we rely on electricity? It's kind of scary. Crack says, yeah, infinite sadness about Lordette. Well, now that King Crab is gone, we can just roam the halls, I guess. We don't have to worry about running into him. Since we've killed him. There's just nothing spawning. This is nuts. Wow, nothing. Angel says, I mean, I'm fine without electricity, but life is just even more boring. We're so dependent. At least I'm so dependent on it. Alright, well, I guess we can go do the roaches. I never did kill those.
Why, it's locked. Now then, let's get ready to fight. Well done, everyone.
Shield to 24. Let's see when we get to 25, if that's magic number to give us +1. Okay, let me try resting in this jail cell over here then. No, that's not where I'm gonna go. Crackrock says, without electricity, I would probably be an even greater nuisance. Probably one of the hardest things would be, besides heating and cooling, would be... Oh, there's something spawned. Good.
Oh my goodness.
Having it dark at night, like in the evenings, and you're wanting to read or even play like a board game or something like that. Anything with dark, you know, you'd have to use like kerosene lanterns or something. That would be rough.
I'm wounded. Well done, everyone.
Ooh, that was good training. Okay, we got 25 shield. Yeah, that's what gave us the +1. We had to have 25. Okay. Brooke says access to information would probably be the worst. Well, in the old days, we'd go to the library. Asia says wake up earlier and go to bed later. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the books were a lot more accurate. You know? Well, I shouldn't say it that way. The books were more vetted. So you wouldn't just get anyone that knows nothing about a subject saying something, you know, because you would have people that it's hard to get published. So you'd have people devote so much time and effort into making something more reliable. Not saying it's not right. I mean, it couldn't be wrong because there was a lot that was wrong, but at least you know they spent a lot of effort and time into trying to verify stuff. So you could still get some good information. But yeah, it'd be really hard. Igloo says someone streamed something about Victorian era houses. Stair steps didn't have to be evenly spaced. Fires started all the time. Because of no electricity? Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we are spoiled for sure. And so many people died due to infections from dirty water, is my understanding. Just lack of, good sewer type systems and contaminated water. Bacteria cause all kinds of problems. Just having good plumbing's a huge deal. Alright, this is the place where we're getting some good monsters. We finally got a place that's causing spawns.
Well done, everyone.
38 sword. Asia says, I think back then, though, people just didn't know how you could boil water and it kills almost everything in it. Yes. Yeah. Well, they didn't understand any of the contamination. Like, I'm not talking about just eating, but people didn't understand you could have some stagnant water somewhere that contaminated something and you wipe it with a washcloth or something, and
Oh my
there's
goodness.
just so many ways things could get contaminated. And they didn't know how to treat bacteria. People would get sick and they had all kinds of crazy things they would try to do to cure it, and lots of misunderstandings.
Well done, everyone.
Fights! We're getting good fights. He just says, right, call theory didn't come around until for a long time. Oh, cell theory. Didn't even know what bacteria were for the longest time. Yeah, exactly. Crack Rock says they knew booze was a gift from the gods. Yeah, and that's the cool thing is, like, there was a lot of things they did that they kind of found that did work by coincidence, and then they found, like, oh wow, it seems like people aren't getting sick when they do this, or it just took a lot of time and a lot of traditions passed down that they didn't understand why they did it, but it did help. Like, they put a lot of clove and cookies and stuff. And clove is like an unbelievably good antibacterial. And they, probably thought it was just for the flavor, stuff like that, and it had these recipes that would pass down. Rook says, if I recall correctly, the guy who created germ theory died in a psych asylum because people thought he was crazy. Really? That's interesting. Igloo says, yeah, the microscope and telescope changed a lot of things. When you can observe things empirically, makes a huge difference. And Mr. Spock says, you see tiny things we can't see. Crazy, man. Right.
Now then, let's get ready to fight. Well done, everyone.
Good training now. some roaches.
Oh my goodness.
Well done, everyone.
39 sword. Down again. Pick our other place here. The other slowed down. Alright, that's probably enough since it's not spawning anymore. We'll go ahead and call it now. So, characters really wreaking havoc, which is great. Be curious as to, once we get the second attack, we'll be pretty darn strong. So, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.